Good evening, everyone. I welcome you all to today's webinar. I'm Arjita Raj from UG Semester 2, Department of Biotechnology, St. Xavier's College, Ranchi. Our topic for today's webinar is Career Opportunities in MBA. MBA stands for Masters of Business Administration, and MBA is an advanced degree that provides theoretical and practical training in business principles and leadership skills. Let us hear more about it from Mr. Tanay Shankar, who is a gold medalist from IIM Indore. He has worked in many renowned institutions and companies like Unilever, Dr. Reddy's Laboratories, Indian Revenue Service, UNDP, Harvard Kennedy School, Massachusetts Clean Energy Center, etc. He is an ex-assistant commissioner of income tax in Indian Revenue Service and current master student at Harvard University.
Thank you, Arjita, for the introduction. I think it's already 7 p.m., so we can get started. So, how I plan to hold this session is that initially I'll talk for maybe 15 20 minutes, give a brief overview of today's topic, and then whoever is moderating, I think Arjita is moderating. So please give an opportunity to everyone to ask a question one by one. And initially, everyone can ask one question. And then when we are done with everyone, at the end, if anyone has more questions and we still have time, then we can get multiple questions from the same person. I hope that is okay, Arjita.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sure. So let's start. I did my MBA from IIM Indore from 2016 to 18. So it has been a while now, and after that I worked in the government for almost 3 years, and now I'm doing a second master's degree. So let's start with the reason why someone would want to do an MBA. And before getting into that, would it be possible for me to know the students here? So, what are the kind of subjects that they are studying? Which year are they in? A rough average. Like, are all of you second year students, third year students? Are you from engineering background, humanities, sciences? So, can I get some background on that?
So the students are from various departments and from all the years, like from first year to the third year of UG and PG, first and second year students.
Okay.
So
Okay. So
all
there,
kinds of
there
students are there.
Okay, that's great. So some are PG students as well. So they have already completed their undergraduate degree and are doing their masters. So MBA would be like a second masters for them. Great, that's helpful to know. And yeah, so let's start with how why would someone would want to do an MBA. So the obvious reason that comes to everyone's mind is to get a good job, and yes, that is definitely true to a great extent. So I have seen from my batchmates, from my other friends as well, the kind of jobs that they were doing right after their undergraduate degree and the jobs that they were doing after a MBA, there was a huge jump in terms of the roles and responsibilities, in terms of the salary that they were getting, in terms of the opportunities that they got. So MBA does provide a career boost in that. And whenever then there are many friends of mine who are also doing quite well without an MBA. So it's always two-sided story, and generally the kind of people who are doing really well without an MBA are the ones who mostly were in engineering and then they stuck to the engineering. So if someone did a computer science degree and they were really interested in coding, and then they, instead of changing their paths to an MBA, they remained with coding, and now they're very senior programmers and they are doing really well. Or there are people who were chemical or mechanical engineers and then gave the GATE exam and got into any of the PSU, so they are also doing really well. So it's very important for you to understand whether get doing an MBA is important for you. So if someone really wants to get into a corporate job in the private sector, then MBA is very very necessary. But if you are, say, doing an undergraduate in, say, biology, botany, zoology, and you want to go in a research field, you want to become a professor, you want to become a researcher, then MBA is not that necessary for you. So it's very important for you to understand whether MBA is something that you want to do. So that is the first step that you need to decide. And it's always helpful to talk to seniors who have done an MBA and those who didn't do an MBA. And once you talk to them, you get their perspective, then you can understand whether MBA is something that you have to do in the future for yourself. Now, once you've made that decision, and since many of you are here for this session, so I'm assuming that out of around 50 people, many a large percentage of you want to do an MBA. That is why you're attending this session. Otherwise, probably you would have been in some other session. So if you have already made that call that, okay, I have to do an MBA, I want to get into the private sector, then you need to know how you get into the an MBA program. So majorly there are entrance examinations like the Common Admission Test, also known as CAT, ZAT, which is conducted by XLRI, NMAT by NMIMS, and SNAP is there by Symbiosis, and there are a few other examinations. I think IIFT also had an examination. I'm not very sure whether they're having it this year or not, but yes. So these are broadly the major exams, and a huge bulk of MBA seats is through the major exam, which is CAT. Now, when I gave the exam, CAT, in 2015, we had a very different format. It was 3 hours long, and each section had 1 hour each. Now, I have heard that after the pandemic, they have reduced the time to 2 hours, so it's 40 minutes each for the three sections. I'm not very sure whether you're familiar with the three sections or not, so I'll give a brief background about that. So one is the quantitative aptitude section. The second is the LRDI, logical reasoning and data interpretation, and third is the verbal reasoning. So these are the major three sections. And even for other exams like ZAT or SNAP or NMAT, these are broadly the kind of questions you should be familiar with. So if you're preparing for CAT, then a lot of extra preparation is not needed for other exams. You can manage easily. Except in ZAT, there are some few questions which are of a different kind. We'll come to that later. But if you're preparing for CAT, then you should be fine with other exams as well. So CAT, again, since there is one section called quantitative aptitude, so it again depends whether you have taken maths, up to your 12th, or maybe in your undergraduate degree. If you have a more mathematical undergraduate degree. So what do I mean by mathematical degree? Maybe BSc Maths, physics, probably chemistry, or economics, or statistics. So if you have these kinds of undergraduate degrees, you will have an advantage in the quantitative aptitude section. Even if you have a BCom degree, you are doing some kind of maths there in accountancy. So you would have advantage in quantitative aptitude. But again, the students who are doing humanities degrees or language and literature like English or maybe psychology, philosophy, they would have advantage in verbal reasoning. So in that way, the exam balances the kind of undergraduate degree you have. So that is not a major concern, but it is always advised to spend almost uh, a year to prepare for it. So if you're in your second year right now of your undergraduate degree, I would say that, and if you're serious about getting your MBA right after your undergraduate, I would say that spend your third year studying for CAT. And in my time, we didn't have a lot of online resources. So this was way back in 2014-15, almost 8-9 years from now. But now there are many online resources available. So you can use YouTube. There are different kind of blogs out there. So it's always useful to prepare in advance. So if you're just completed your second year, or if you started your second year, I would advise spend a year preparing for the exam very properly, because the higher percentile that you get in CAT, the better your chances are. Now, first thing someone might ask me is, what is a percentile? So, percentile is basically the number of candidates who are ranked behind you. So, unlike a percentage, which is an absolute number, percentile is a more relative concept. So, you have to do better than others in the examination. So, unlike undergraduate entrance exams like NEET or IIT JEE, Here percentile is not the only thing which matters. There are other factors as well that come into play during your MBA examination. So for especially for IIMs, your 10th percentage, your class 12th board percentage, whether you are doing an engineering degree or not, because many of the IIMs give some points for academic diversity if you belong to a non-engineering stream. This is just because there are already too many engineers in the MBA program. So just to balance out the academic diversity, it's very important. So these are some other factors. Broadly, it's mostly on your 10th, 12th marks and your CGPA or your graduation marks. That is also very important. So if you're in your first year right now, and if you're listening to this webinar, I would say take your academics seriously. Try to get as high as a percentage or CGPA in your college as possible. That will never harm you. It would add bonus points. Now class 10th and 12th is something that you cannot go back and change, so don't worry about that, let it be. But try to improve in other areas, because this entrance to this the selection criteria for MBA is quite holistic. But CAT preparation is something that you should take very seriously. Spend a year, dedicate time for all the three sections. And as far as I remember, during my time, every section has its own sectional cutoff. So it's not that if you say if you're very good in maths, so you get very good marks in quantitative aptitude, but in logical reasoning uh, verbal reasoning, you are not able to get good marks. So you can't balance it out like that. You have to score above a minimum threshold in all the three sections. So you have to dedicate equal times of preparation for all of them. Do a lot of mock tests. So in my time, I used to give mocks for Time, Career Launcher. These were the major uh, coaching institutes then. You can check the popular ones in today's time, but it's online. You can do it from the comfort of your home and see, and it's conducted all across India. So you get a sense of where you're standing in respect to other candidates in the country, and then you can see which, and their detailed solutions are very useful. So they provide you exactly where you are deficient and what areas you need to work on to improve. So it's very helpful to go to the solutions. So prepare for CAT very seriously, especially if you're in college. Like if you're either in second, third year, or in your PG degree, you will get time apart from your own coursework, maybe on the weekends or on evenings in the weekdays. And if you're very serious about MBA, I would say spend some time preparing for CAT. And most of the other exams also follow a very similar pattern. In XLRI, there are some special questions called decision making questions and general knowledge questions. So for this, you can check the online blogs. Decision making is you can understand the meaning of the word decision making, right? So you are given a situation, and then there are three or four options there, and you have to select which is the best course of action. And if you see a few examples on one of these blogs, you will be able to understand what they mean by this. And general knowledge is again general knowledge, so they'll ask things from the current affairs. So that is not something which you can already preempt what is going to be asked. So you have to be a bit aware of what's going on in the world. And when you're preparing for your verbal reasoning, or especially for the reading comprehensions, it's advised that you read newspaper articles, because that will help you read long and complex paragraphs and understand them. So that is the best way to prepare for verbal reasoning. For LRDI, logical reasoning and data interpretation, you need to be very fast. You need to practice a lot. For CAT, uh, initial preparation needed is not that much. Unlike say IIT JEE or NEET, where you spend a lot of time understanding the concept and then you do practice. Here, understanding the concepts is not very difficult, because anyone who has studied till class 10th maths or English, they will be able to understand the basic concepts. Even in maths, the questions are from time, speed and distance, or proportions. These are things that you have all of you have studied in your school days. But again, it's the practice and how you can tackle the questions in the CAT exam that is very important. So this is the exam stage of MBA, that you have to prepare well, you have to get a good percentile, and that is when you can aspire for a uh, better institute. And see, again, in MBA, it's very very important that you can you have to aim for the best institutes possible. So it's always advised to plan for that. The reason being is that a major objective of doing an MBA is campus placements, and many of these good companies, major corporates, they tend to visit the higher ranked campuses. So it's always very important to do a bit of research, which are the institutes which are on on higher rankings, and you can check NIRF rankings, or other rankings as well. So don't rely on any one of them, but just see 4 5 and understand which are the good colleges, and aspire for the ones which are the best. uh, and then that will help you build a better career path. So at this initial stage, always try to get the best score possible that you can in CAT. Now, after this, the second thing that I want to talk about is the specializations. So at the outset, all you would know about MBA is its full form, that it's Master of Business Administration. But you need to understand that business administration itself has many different verticals. So there's finance, which most people know. There's marketing. There's human resources. There's operations. And these days there is also IT and data analytics, which in my time was not a very major branch, but these days it has become the most upcoming and the most sought of one of the most sought after branches, because of the advancements we have seen in data analytics over the past few years. Now, coming to each of these specializations separately. So finance is mostly on the financial sector of the economy, so banking, mutual funds, even the corporate finance verticals of major corporates. So these are the kind of jobs that you can expect to do after a finance MBA, and it requires you to be very good in numbers. Uh, so if you are not very comfortable with mathematics, then finance is something that you might face a bit of problem in. And the backbone of finance is accountancy. So if you have already done a BCom, then it would be a very natural step for you to do an MBA in finance. If you have not done a BCom, then you might have to adjust a bit to the language of finance, which is derived from accountancy. Now, the next specialization is marketing. Now, marketing is more about how so marketing itself is divided into two parts. One is the sales, and one is the marketing strategy. So marketing strategy is a more higher level function where people decide how a particular product or service is going to be sold. They make some strategies for it, and the sales team is the one which actually implements this strategy. So, for example, suppose there is a major company, say like Unilever. So their marketing team has decided that Surf Excel brand is going to be sold in this kind of stores, and then the sales team is the set of people who are responsible for going to these stores and getting them to sell that product. So that is how these two functions uh, complement each other. And in marketing, it's very important for you to be creative, and it's very important for you to understand people. People who are doing undergraduate in psychology, they will have a natural advantage because they are already studying people's behavior. Or even if you're doing English or you're good at communication, marketing is a very good field for you. It's relatively less number heavy as compared to finance. But if someone starts getting into marketing research, then it again becomes a bit number heavy. But if you're in the you know actual practice of marketing, it's not that number heavy. Now, getting on to the third specialization is human resources. So, human resources are the people who are responsible for recruiting talent for companies, training those talents, getting them to do the, not getting them to do the work per se, but supporting them if they need some kind of special leaves, or if they require some other support in the organization. So human resource department is the one which is responsible for that. And one of the best HR programs in the country is in XLRI, and even IIM Ranchi has a very good HR program. So all of you are lucky being in Ranchi that you have access to two very good institutes with human resources program. So in case you have some kind of interest in HR, you can be close to home and study. So that is a major advantage for you. And people in human resources, again, it's kind of similar to marketing. You have to be very creative. You have to be good communicators. You have to be very empathetic. You have to understand the needs of the people in front of you. What exactly do they need? how to best support them, how to best train them if they are facing any kind of difficulty in the organization, how you can help them. So that is the major function of human resources. And they also perform a very important function because most of the companies are known for the kind of talent that they keep, and human resources is the one which recruits this talent. So it's a very important function. Now moving on to the next part, it's operations. Now operations are the function in a company which are kind of the backbone. They take the example of a chemical manufacturing company. So operations team is the one which will procure the raw materials from the suppliers. Then they will manufacture the end chemical from these raw materials, and then they will send this manufactured end product to the people who will sell it. So they perform a very important function at the backbone of the company. And again a very number heavy thing. And if you are doing an engineering undergraduate, or if you're doing a more science based undergraduate, then you would enjoy operations more. I have not personally seen anyone coming from humanities and getting into operations, because it's very engineering related. In fact, in other countries, operation is also known as engineering management, because that is the function where you have to manage engineering department of the company. So that is something that you can decide based on your interest. If you are good with numbers, if you enjoy that kind of work, then definitely go for operations. And lastly, information technology and data analytics. So in my time, it was not a very sought after specialization, because it was at a very early stage. But now data analytics has become a major field. Even after engineering, most people are going into a data analytics kind of job. So you can explore this. And people who are doing a statistics or an economics undergraduate degree, they have a natural advantage in this, because they have already studied some of the concepts which are used in this. uh, so these are the major specializations in MBA. Now, talking about the career path. So when I was discussing the specializations, I have given you some idea of the career paths that you can expect after uh, your MBA. And again, the better the ranking of your institute, the more opportunities that you are going to get, and the more lucrative and the more fulfilling these roles would be. Now, the third point that I have to discuss is the networking opportunities. So, networking is not something that is very exclusive to MBA. Even in your undergraduate degree, when you are going to your classes, you are speaking to your classmates, you're getting to know them, you're getting to know their interests, their hobbies, their strengths, weaknesses. So, this is where networking starts. Now, the thing is that in our undergraduate colleges, it's not as big as of a buzzword as it is in MBA, where people actually take out the time and meet others, and they call it networking. But you are doing this since your school days. And in MBA, it's more important because generally MBA is the last degree people do. It's very there are very few people who do any other degree after an MBA. So once you get a job after your MBA, and then you want to change a job, switch a job, it is your network, the classmates who were there with you in the MBA program, who are going to refer you to the new positions. So that is why networking becomes important. Because suppose um, I had friends in MBA, and now they're in very good positions. And if I am interested in a role in their company, so I can just send them a WhatsApp saying, "Hi, can you uh, refer? There's a position in your company that I'm very interested in. Can you please refer it to me?" And this is only possible because I was friends with them in my MBA, and we knew each other. That is why networking is important. But if you don't know someone, you'll be a bit hesitant to reach out to them. And even if you say manage to reach out to them, they might not. It would not be their priority to help you then. So it's very important to know each other and network, not only in your MBA but in your undergraduate degree as well. Now, moving on to skill development. So, yes, again, I understand MBA. The major focus in MBA is to get a job, but without skills, it's very difficult to get a job. Or even if you are able to get a job, staying in that job and um, getting ahead, getting promotions or growing in that job opportunity is very difficult if you have not learned your skill, if you have not worked on your skill development. I'll give you an example. So suppose when you were in class 4 or 5, and if you only knew addition and subtraction, but you couldn't do multiplication and division, do you think you would have been able to succeed in maths of 7th and 8th? No. So it's the same thing in your MBA, that You have to build on the skills. Now it again depends on which field you are specializing in. So if you're going in finance, your accountancy skills need to be good. If you're in data analytics, your analytical skills needs to be good. Your problem solving skills needs to be good in all of these branches. Your communication skills needs to be good. It's always advised to work on these skills, and the 2 years of your MBA will provide you many opportunities to do that through case competitions, through assignments. Usually in undergraduate degree, it's very common for students to not take assignments very seriously. It's something that most of us have done. But in your MBA, I would say, based on my personal experience, that take all of your assignments very seriously, because especially in very good MBA programs, the professors, they are very experienced and they know that the kind of work you're going to get in industry. So they design the assignments keeping that in mind. Even at times you would feel that they are putting a lot of pressure on you. So in my MBA at IIM Indore, many times in the afternoon at 2 or 3 p.m. we used to get a mail that there is an assignment. It's a very lengthy and complex assignment, and it is due at 11:59 p.m. in the night. So we had only like 10, not even 10 hours to work on it. So in that situation, it feels that the professors are unnecessarily, putting us a lot of pressure on us, but they are doing it for your own good, because later on when you go in the actual job, that is how the deliverables will come to you. That is how your managers will send an email to you and say that I have this document, can you make these changes and send it to me by in the next 4 or 5 hours. So they are getting you prepared for this situation, in for real life situations. So it's very important to take all your assignments seriously. Yes, Aman has raised a hand. Please go ahead, Aman. Uh, okay, if you're not going ahead, I'll continue and then you can ask your question later on. So I was saying that take all your assignments very seriously and build on your skills. So if you're asked to give a PowerPoint presentation on any topic, take it seriously. Don't just put copy paste things from Wikipedia and put it in your PPT and just say it out aloud. Or take it very seriously. Think on it. Think what are the questions that someone can ask out of that presentation, and that is how you will build on your skills. And the last thing is on the admissions and scholarships. So I already told you about the admission criteria, that you have to get a good score in the CAT. You also need to have good percentage in your 10th and 12th. If you already don't have, don't worry about it. You cannot change. You won't go and give your 12th boards again, right? So just don't forget about it. Try to get as good as a percentile in your CAT or other entrance examinations, and that is very important. And as for scholarships, uh, I am not very aware of how it's going right now, but in my time there used to be various scholarships like Aditya Birla Group scholarship, OP Jindal scholarship, Yes Bank scholarship, which many of my batchmates participated in, and mostly it was based on their percentile or their academic scores. So they applied for it. There was an interview, and some of them got it. So that is something that comes after the admissions process. So you don't have to worry about it now. When you go to and you join your MBA program, you will be briefed on that. So yeah, this was the brief introduction that I wanted to give. Sorry, it went 5 minutes extra. I had planned to wind it up in 20 minutes, took almost 25. But yeah, so this is the brief introduction of the topic. And now feel free to ask questions. Arjita is the moderator, so I would uh, recommend her that please give everyone a chance to ask one question initially, and then if someone has more questions at the end, if all the questions have been answered and still there is time, then I'll be happy to take those questions. So Arjita, all yours. Please moderate the
Thank
discussion.
you, sir, for all the valuable information you have shared. It was really helpful for us. I would now request the participants to raise their queries one by one. Raise your hands and I'll ask them to clear their doubts.
Yeah, I think Ria had raised her hand first. Please
Yes,
unmute
Ria.
yourself, ask the question.
First of all, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
I just want to ask that I am from economics department. So can you tell me what kind of skills that we develop in this college years, mein, so that I can excel in finance and after MBA, in MBA colleges.
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. So since you're already doing an economics undergraduate, you already have a sense of how a market works, supply, demand. These are very important concepts to know. But for finance, you need to know accountancy. So if you get time after your CAT preparation, CAT preparation is the priority for now. But after that, if you get some time, talk to your batchmates, in BCom. Try to read through the class 11 and 12 NCRT books. You don't even need to do that now these days. There are so many online lectures available. Try to go through those online lectures. Try to understand accountancy. Once you're more thorough with accountancy, then you can get into the basics of finance. For everyone, I am repeating this. Don't try to directly jump into reading books about finance. First, try to understand accountancy. Only then you will be able to understand finance better.
Thank you, sir.
Uh, no
Okay, now
problem.
Rohit was also raising his hand.
Yeah, Rohit, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. At first, thank you so much, Tanmay, sir, because the thing like the way I've imagined the session will be going, it is like more than that, and it is a really great session going on. Secondly, sir, my question was like, right now I'm just pursuing my humanities degree.
Which
So at the
branch
same time,
of humanities?
English honors,
Okay,
English
okay.
honors it is.
Mhm.
Yeah. So at the same time, as any other humanities students, I'm watching my friends also here, to like looking forward for the current affairs thing. Like they are
Okay.
too much focused on the current affairs because they are preparing for the government jobs. So it is quite
Mhm.
an evident thing that they are preparing, like focusing on the current affairs.
Mhm.
But my questions to you, sir, the like the place I'm in right now, like we can't afford see the two newspapers which are way too much famous for current
Mhm.
affairs is the Hindu and the
Mhm.
Indian Express, undoubtedly. Like
Okay.
they are actually good. But despite that,
Okay.
what are your recommendations for the newspapers that I should be focusing on? Because at the same time, we don't have the newspapers coming in here. Here are only few
Yes, I
options we have
understand.
got.
Yes, I understand.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
good question because I also did my UPSC preparation from Ranchi and the Hindu and the Indian Express. First of all, it comes a day late. Second thing, it's very expensive to get it here. So I totally understand your question. If you are not able to access these two newspapers, I think Hindustan Times is a good option. Uh, their editorials are also quite good. And in my time, newspapers could be accessed for free online. Nowadays, all of them have put paywalls. Uh, but yeah, in Ranchi, you can get Hindustan Times of the same day. So if you're able to access that, and again, if you are part of any library, or if you are in a PG, and if they are getting newspapers, or if a group, or you can do one more thing as a group of friends, you can subscribe to a newspaper and share it. So that way you'd be able to access it as well as share the cost. So if you can think of ways like that, and online, if you can find any blogs, if you if and one thing I forgot to tell all of you, I had specially marked it out, but it just slipped my mind. If you are serious about doing an MBA, and I'm sure most of you are, please go and set up a LinkedIn profile. A LinkedIn profile is the bare minimum start that you need to have to for a post MBA career. And again, try to so I hope, Rohit, I have answered your question before I get deeper into the
Yeah, sir. You
okay.
did. You just did.
Yes.
Thank you so
Okay.
much, sir.
No worries. So yeah, thank you, Rohit, for reminding me that. And getting on, before I take the next question, I'll just tell about LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is a social media platform, but it's unlike Instagram, Facebook, or any other or Twitter or any other kind of social media platforms. It is a more professional platform. So when you're on LinkedIn, you have to make a very professional profile. So the kind of, starting from the kind of display picture that you're using, it needs to be very professional. The photo that I have here in my image, that's my LinkedIn profile photo as well. So this is the kind of professional photo that you need to have. So it's always good to have wear formals and get a headshot clicked. In my time, we had to go to the studio to get it clicked. This is from my first year of my MBA. But these days, if you can get it done even from a smartphone, get a very professional photo, in a blazer or in a tie, clicked, put it there. So that shows that you are a professional person on LinkedIn. You are not there just for time pass. So get a professional display picture, then write your, since you're all, and most of your undergraduate students, some of your postgraduate students, write your class 12th, class 10th. Don't go into beyond that. Like, don't start writing, I did this in class 8th. Just write what you did in class 10th, what you did in class 12th, one line each. If, say, if you were the editor of a magazine, if you we won some debating competition, just write one line. And if you're comfortable writing your 10th or 12th percentage, please feel free to write that. If you're not comfortable, you can skip that. Also, do write the subjects you have studied. So in 10th, if you have done math, science, social science. In 12th, if you've done PCM, biology, or economics, anything, just write the subjects you have mentioned, one line of what you did. And then in your undergraduate degree, just put it in bullet points. Which university you are studying in, or which college, uh, what is your degree's name. So Bachelor of Arts in English for in Rohit's case, or Bachelor of Economics, Bachelor of Arts in Economics in Ria's case. Write your degree, write your major subject, also write the other subjects that you're taking. So even so, for example, if Priya is doing economics, she might also be taking some courses from political science, or Rohit might be doing English, but he might also be taking some courses from maybe philosophy. So just write some other courses that you're also doing with that. And also write one or two details, like if you are the president of a debating club, or if you are the secretary of some other club or department or society. Just write one or two lines about that. So make it very professional. And in the top, you can just write bachelor student economics, St. Xavier's College, Ranchi. Just write one line below your name. So that makes a very professional LinkedIn profile. And once you enter your MBA, if you already have a professional LinkedIn profile, and when you compare with your batchmates, you'll see that you are a bit ahead of the game there itself. And once you're on LinkedIn, you also have access to a lot of the content that LinkedIn has. So I'm sure most of you are on Instagram. I would be surprised if not many of you are not there. And you see the kind of content there, the reels, all the kind of fun content that is there. So in LinkedIn, similarly, there's a lot of serious and professional content. Like, you will see what people are doing after their MBA. Many people are top writers on LinkedIn. They'll write a lot of things. If someone is working in marketing, they will write a lot of day-to-day jobs. So I was following this person who was a marketing manager in Britannia. So he used to write his challenges in day-to-day life in selling the products of Britannia. So from that also you can learn. So if your social media, I'm not telling you that don't use your phone, but if your phone using habits move from Instagram and Facebook, I'm pretty sure a lot of us don't use nowadays. But if you are able to move from Instagram to LinkedIn, and if you're able to read and understand the content there and explore it further, you are already ahead in the game. So you're already substituting the reading of newspapers, because you're actually reading business related content there. You're also trying to understand the content, and also be very respectful on LinkedIn. So whoever, if you are messaging someone, always think that they are your manager, or they're like your professor in college. Try to talk with respect. Like, if you see someone working in any company, say Tata Steel, and if you're very interested in that the work they're doing, then just say, just message them, hello sir, I saw that you're working as a mechanical engineer in Tata Steel. I wanted to ask questions about your work. Please let me know. Always be respectful on LinkedIn. And that's true for other platforms generally, but more so for LinkedIn. So yeah, sorry for this short deviation. Who was the next person who was supposed to ask the question, Archita?
It was Tripti, sir.
Okay. Yeah, Tripti, please go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to speak. Actually, I wanted to know that I'm currently pursuing graduation. I'm a botany student and want to act like CAT and other competitive management exams. So, like my academic is like well good when I talk about class 10, 12. So, like, what all extracurricular activities I need to do so that my resume will boost to next level?
Okay, yes, that's a good question to ask, and that is a confusion which a lot of us have in our mind, especially during our undergraduate degree. That what should
Yeah.
I do exactly? And what happens is we try to spread ourselves too much. We try to get involved in every society that we can see, debating or performing arts, fine arts, everything. So on that note, I would advise you to understand where your strengths lie, where your interest lies. Find one or two places. You might be very good at chess, so see if you have opportunities of playing chess olympiads, for example. Or you might be very good at painting. Can you do painting competitions? So just pick one or two things and try to do as much as well as possible in them. So the what is the use of extracurricular activities? I will tell you. Not only does it engage you productively during your undergraduate degree and provides you a break from your studies, but when you go for the MBA entrance examinations, like for in my case, I used to do a lot of quizzing, and for my interview for IIM Indore, I was there were a lot of questions on quizzing, like why do you do quizzing, what are some of the good questions that you have encountered, how did you perform in the different quizzes, what was your experience. So in interview, if you're able to talk about one or two things in which you're interested in outside academics, it makes a positive impression for you and it adds to your interview score. So that's why you should develop extracurricular activities if you're thinking about an MBA.
Okay, sir.
I
And
hope.
any internship or certification courses?
Yeah. Again, internships, I think uh, see after first second years it's difficult to get internships. Even I was not able to do any internship then.
No,
But
I'm in a third year. I'm in last year of graduation.
okay, uh, let me think. See, I'm not very aware of how it's right now, because in my time it was not very common for us to do internships. But if yeah, you can definitely do skill building. So there are a lot of online courses, they provide certifications. So if you're in botany, and if you do an introductory course on say accounting, and you get a certificate for that, then that will show that you also have knowledge of accounting. Or if you do something on economics, that will also show that yeah, you have done some extra thing apart from your core curriculum. As far as internships are considered, see one way, yeah. So instead of doing professional internships, you can do some kind of work with NGOs, because typically a lot of undergraduate students do that kind of work, and that adds a lot of value, because in your interview you can talk about the social causes that you're very passionate for. So suppose you interned with an NGO which works in the field of environment, or some other NGO which say works in another field. So that is a very helpful value add. So you can think about that.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, no worries.
Yes, Aditya.
Hi Aditya.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
My name is Aditya Agrawal. I am currently in the second year of graduation.
Okay.
I am from the commerce background, from BCom vocational, and
Okay.
my vocation and my subjects are like finance, risk management, and all those. I have done I have done. Let me tell you my brief history before asking questions, because it will help you to conclude according to my situation. I have done data science courses and made many projects
Hmm.
in data science, and I have some achievements in Kaggle also. Secondly, I am a CFA aspirant, and I will probably give CFA in 2024. So my question is, sir, besides being such a strong resume, I fail apart in finding interns, not only internship, finding some good internships. Our finding some good internships. I have applied many internship in the internshala, where I found that there are for the intake of 1 and 2, there are applicants as high as 3,000, 4,000, and even sometimes 7,000 for intake of 1 and 2. So how can I stand out in in this situation and become a better option for the companies.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for your question, Aditya. So when did you start your BCom degree? Which year?
So I started my BCom degree in 2021.
2021, and you will graduate in 2024, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so the first thing that you can do, and you're rightly thinking of doing a CFA level one. So the moment you do a level one, you there will be some other opportunities which will open to you, and the further down you can go into the CFA exam. I personally have done level one, but if you go to level two, level three, you'll start automatically, getting opportunities. So because there are lesser percentage of people at every higher level of CFA, so that should not be a problem. Are you also a CA aspirant, or have you written the CA exam?
No, so I have not such strong interest in auditing and taxation, but I have strong interest in finance, risk management, portfolio management, corporate finance, and etc. So, what would you suggest, according to me, is the best fit for me?
Sure. So again, getting internship before you start your MBA might be a bit difficult. Uh, but if you are a CA aspirant, I would have advised you to go for an articleship. So that is the best way, and it's not that difficult to get if you know people doing that kind of work. Or even if you know any CA office here which are doing work apart from auditing and taxation, probably that would also help you. Or if there is any any kind of small finance bank or something like that, and if you're able to reach out to people in those areas.
Sir, but how can I do that? Which is the best platform or the?
Okay, yes. So LinkedIn, as I said, make a LinkedIn profile, make it very professional.
I have made a LinkedIn profile, but
Okay.
yeah, there are jobs which has applicants such as managers, and
So if you apply to jobs there, it's going to be very difficult. But see the organizations in which those jobs are, okay? Who are working there. So reach out to those people that message them that, hi, I'm Aditya. I have this interest. These are my skills. Do you have any opportunities where I can intern for in your organization? In that way, people are more responsive. If you just apply on the